from Forbes to Adweek, Lanfranco and Cordova's advertising campaigns have been recognized for outstanding creativity and strategic thinking. And so I'm gonna give you a little quick history, but I'm not gonna be long. Before founding what is known as, that's their long name, but they're known in the industry as L&C and NY, New York, because they also are from Peru. And so Gian Lanfranco and Rolando Cordova, they spent 15 years of their careers leading creative departments at some of the most prestigious advertising agencies in the world. Some of them, you know, McCann New York, Boston, New York, Bistar in Amsterdam, Wieden+Kennedy in Amsterdam, Saatchi Saatchi over in Singapore. And both of these guys were born in Lima, Peru. And that makes them really interesting. But not only were they born there, they're highly successful and maybe the most successful team ever out of Peru. And prior to forming L&C New York, they worked as global creative directors at McCann New York and Gary Bowen, another great agency, overseeing integrated global campaigns for clients that you would know, American Express, Chevrolet, Microsoft. But before moving there, they worked in Paris and they were responsible for iconic Orangina account. Prior to that, they were, as I mentioned, were in Amsterdam working at Wieden+Kennedy and launching the multi-global campaign for many countrymen, the first ever iPhone app for Coca Cola, the magic Coke bottle, actually. And earlier in their careers, they spent time at Saatchi Saatchi in Singapore, helping that agency become the Asian Agency of the Year 2 times, not once, but twice. And they began their career in Saatchi Saatchi in Lima, Peru, where they won the first ever AKQA Future Lions in Cannes award. L&C published their first book a few years ago in 2016, in case one of you would like to get it and take a read. It's about, in case someone says no to you, and which is seeing beyond, it's about seeing beyond the limitations of sometimes what happens in the creative world and using creativity to enhance it. They are also served as jurors and speakers for the prestigious One Show, which some of you are going to be entering this quarter at the end of it, and also the New York Festival Advertising Awards, and in Dubai, the Lynx Awards and the El Dorado Festival in Bogota. And so these are 2 of the most traveled creatives you will ever meet. And they're 2 of the nicest guys on the planet, I gotta tell you, and they love students. So I'm gonna turn it over to them. This should be a great presentation. I think you will be as excited as I am. I'm telling you, I think we talked for 2 hours on the phone when we talked last time. I mean, they're so interesting. Prepare your questions, because you gotta have some. If you wanna look inside advertising and wanna hear about what it looks like around the world from these guys, get your questions, put them in the chat box, and or ask them at the end. So guys, turn it over to you. Thank you.
Wow, that was a really long intro, and yeah, really nice. Thank you, Hank. I think we're really excited to share. We have a presentation for you guys, and of course all your questions. We're based in New York right now, the past 6 years. So we're going to show you a little bit of tools that might help you, you know, to take the next step on your careers. You know, some of you might be looking to join great agencies. Some of you might be looking to start something new. So I think this is more a chat between us to get, you know, to basically get all the info we could give you, because we've been there in different markets, in different times too. So yeah, just absorb everything you want, and we'll move to the presentation so we could start.
Yeah, maybe I can start sharing my screen. 1 second. And then I press present.
Yeah, let us know if you could all see this. Yeah, good. And this is the nice logo our art director designed for our agency. It's 2 years in the market, less than 2 years. We founded the L&C New York. We have also an office in Lima, where we're originally from. but we'll take you a little bit through what we want to share today. And I think the best talk we could build, basically, when we were thinking of this is opportunity for, for everyone in general is actually the best award. We have Cannes, we have the One Show, Clio, and all that is important. But I think if you guys look into opportunity as an actual, award, as something you have to invest time on and find, it will really open you the doors and allow you to grow as a creative and in the ad world too. Again, we're L&C, and again, simply, we consider ourselves an independent agency founded by 2 immigrants from Peru, myself, Giancarlo Lanfranco,
and Rolando Cordova.
And we'll take you through a short journey, a little bit of what Hank showed. We started in Peru many years ago. It's around 17 years. We started in a small agency in Peru, Saatchi Saatchi. Then we moved to Singapore to work at Saatchi Saatchi Singapore. At the time, David Droga was the global chairman of Saatchi. He worked at Saatchi Singapore for many years, so he actually had the agency had like a really good creative story, and creative foundation. Then we moved to our dream agency that was Wieden+Kennedy in Amsterdam. We spent 5 years in Amsterdam, 3 at Wieden and 2 at BSUR, that was an independent agency. Moved to Fred and Farid to work in Paris. We love their work, independent. They opened their own agency, something we're doing now. We wanted to learn. We spent a few years there. Then we moved to New York, where we've been the last 6 years, plus mainly working at Havas, then at McCann New York as global CDs on Chevy and Microsoft. And then we founded our agency less than 2 years ago. So that's a little bit of what we're gonna take you through. But let's keep going. Here, there's a little bit of PR of what we've done, just to get you a sense. But let's dive into what it's the talk today and what we think is relevant. And the whole time we like this word opportunity. In Spanish is oportunidad. And it's something that we want you guys to value. It's taken on different levels, from people that want to move to an agency and have their first job, to people that is already working for years and are looking for new opportunities, and to people that are just looking to maybe switch to different careers. So the first statement we have is opportunity is worth more than money. And actually, we have a personal example of this. We started in Peru many years ago. Peruvian market wasn't the best for advertising, being completely honest. Right now it's much better, but at the time it was like the Wild West of advertising. There were 2 interesting agencies at the time that we will say were creative. One was Saatchi Saatchi, and the other one was Leo Burnett. Saatchi Saatchi won like a Cannes Lion, like won, I think it was a bronze, with this idea. That was actually really interesting. It was a guerrilla where they put little eyes on the trees. And it was for the custom house, super simple guerrilla. Let's keep in mind, Peru is actually a market where there's not a lot of money invested in advertising. So the thinking was really lateral and guerrilla. And Leo Burnett was another agency that won a Gold Lion for a film they did back then. So there were 2 agencies, sort of like, okay, you want to be a creative, you have to go to one of those 2. There are other agencies, bigger holdings, but you knew you were going to do not so interesting work. So we tried our best to get inside. We managed to enter to Saatchi Saatchi where we met,
Yeah, definitely. At that time, like everybody wants to get inside Leo Burnett. But, we found this opportunity with our previous bosses and, they hired us somehow. And we did it for, no money at the beginning.
Yeah, this is where we come now. So, at the time, the advertising industry wasn't that regularized in Peru. So you could go to a bad agency creatively and get paid, or you could go to one of the 2 creatives and get paid with pizza. So we were like, okay, let's just get the pizza and the late hours. But we believe we're going to learn from good people. And that's what at the end ended up paying off. We got a lot of exposure. We did some interesting work. First year after we were interns, junior creatives there, that's a picture of Rolo in a long time far away. But we won the Ojo de Iberoamérica. That is a really important festival in South America. We were the first Peruvians to win it in the student category with this print that we did that basically said the best advertising is the one you can close in your head. you know, so it's almost like a circle, and, you know, because best stats you sort of makes you think. And it was to promote Latin Spot, that were their magazine. So this one won. It allowed us to go to Argentina, you know, win an award there, first time for Peru, first time for us, get a little bit of, you know, spotlight in the advertising, at least South American market. And then the next year, with a little bit more of confidence, we were like, okay, if we want this, and it's a student competition on you know, South America, why don't we try something new, you know? And it was the first year they were launching in Cannes, the Future Lions. I guess you guys are familiar, you know, it was created by AKQA at the time, by PJ Pereira, Ray Inamoto, Lars Wallström, and all the founders of AKQA. So it was the first year we saw the ad in a magazine at the time. You know, internet was like the time of, you know, High Five and MSN, and, you know, there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram. So it's like, oh, let's, you know, we might have a chance. Why don't we present an idea there? And we actually won. We won. It was 2006. So we traveled to Cannes first year, no idea, with our backpacks, super young. I guess we were in the early 20s, 19, 20. And we got the chance to meet PJ, to get the award, you know, Future Lions. And that sort of opened the world for us. It was a different time. You know, again, there was no an internet-friendly time. You had to actually send your work by CDs or show it to some people, meet them personally. And we were in Cannes. We met David Droga, of course, he's always there. And of course, Bobby Sherwood, at the time, that was the chief creative officer of Saatchi, together with Kevin Roberts. They saw us there, these two poor kids from Peru that came from Saatchi. They treat us really well. They paid our hotels, they paid the festival, and they promised us, you know, by winning this award, we're going to transfer you to a better Saatchi office. And, you know, we were there in Cannes, we thought excited, and we said, like, yeah, sure, they're saying that. But, you know, the month after, we actually got, you know, the contract, and we're like, okay, we're still in ad school in Peru, being interns at Saatchi Peru, and we suddenly get this offer to go to Saatchi and Saatchi Singapore. And as we say in Spanish, el tren pasa solo una vez, the train passes only once. We jumped on the train and we went to Singapore with, you know, no expertise. We were like Googling on YouTube how Singapore was. We actually knew that it was a really good creative agency because David Droga worked there for many years. They were winning awards in Cannes. Andy Greenaway was the regional chief creative officer. So we like just jumped on the plane, 2 stops from Peru, and we moved to Singapore. Again, you know, Singapore.
Yeah, I mean, the point of, you know, the subject of this is, you know, like if we never, you know, if we prioritize money, because I mean, in Peru, you know, the big agencies is just, they pay you well, but they were kind of crap. Yeah. To be honest. And Saatchi was not so big, but it was really interesting. And we took that opportunity because we thought, okay, in the future, it's going to allow us to grow and be more connected, you know. So rather than choosing money, we choose the opportunity that opened us the door.
And there's a picture of Saatchi when we were there, I think it's 2006 and 7. We did some really fantastic work for Procter. We helped the agency become Agency of the Year twice in a row in Southeast Asia. That was a massive award. And, you know, our work became more international, more relevant. And then we got opportunities to emigrate. So after this, actually, we got the chance to move then to Amsterdam, to work at Wieden and different places, you know. But it's really interesting how by choosing the pizza slice over the $1,000 a month, we got paid later better, right? In contacts, in good work, and also in money at the end, right? Because you get to better positions, you get to better places, you get to better work. And, you know, many years after we start going to Cannes, and, you know, these connections always work. We were really excited because, you know, PJ Pereira is, this is like this year actually, PJ Pereira, that gave us our first award more than 70 years ago, 17. He invited me to be part of the Andy Awards jury. That it's like a great satisfaction. You know, there's no ever a Peruvian that have judged there, a few South Americans, of course, but it's like, you know, the people we admire in advertising, you know, like Joaquin Borgstrom, Ray Inamoto, Margaret Johnson, you know, Andrew Keller, you know, and we were judging with them. Well, I was judging with them, and that was like a great satisfaction of how a circle that started 17 years ago that we chose out of, you know, basically opportunity instead of just something more tangible, became something greater at the end. So I will, as Rolo was saying, whenever you choose an agency or you choose an opportunity, choose the opportunity more than the money. We did it and we didn't come from money. So if you even come from money, choose it 10 times more. If you don't come from money, sometimes make the sacrifice because you will get better work. And this industry is about the work and the connections and the people you meet. Mm-hmm. That takes us to a second point, and what we want to tell you here is super simple. There's always an opportunity in constraints, and that ignites creativity. So, whenever you ever have a constraint, some sort of restriction, that's when you become more creative. So don't be afraid of the briefs that are super tight, of the tight budgets, of the brand that nobody knows. You might be able to turn things around because the space is narrower. And for this, we have a cultural example. Comes from our country and many South American countries. But I remember this, I remember my dad, going there, taking the Sprite bottle and, okay, we need to, get more water, like a sprinkler to cover the grass, So it's like, they will go make the little holes and then use our water bottle, Coke bottle to sprinkle the gardens. And that's something, they don't go and buy and spend money finding a fancy mechanism that rotates. That's only for the rich people in South America. But this is like something you see on every park, on every little garden of houses. So I think this is, again, how do you work with things that are not perfect and create something that solves a problem? That's actually what we're paid to do. That's what we should do above all. If that comes with a, of course, an award, fantastic. If it not, at least you're solving an interesting problem. So we stay there with that. Again, opportunity isn't always in the name, but in the people. We think this is really important, especially on the times we're currently living. I think you guys are, some of you are looking to move to agencies. Where should I go? Or like even tech companies, or even, interesting places, even start your own. But the name, we worked on places that had great names, but we actually make our best work on places that were unknown. And we're gonna tell you a little bit about that. We're working at Wieden+Kennedy Amsterdam, possibly one of the best agencies in the world.
Yeah, and the context that we face there, after we moved from Singapore is like at Wieden, it was just global work, And as you know, when you work for global brands, it always takes time to produce, a campaign might take 6 months, a year and a half, until you see, finally the end result that can be a TV or all that.
Yeah, so it's a lot of strategy behind, you sell the line, then so for a creative, it could be like draining too, because it's like, when am I producing something? It might take you and we got there and we had friends that were like, oh, I've been here 3 years. I produced an ad, it was a fantastic ad, but it took him like 3 years. So we were there, we were learning something completely different that was much more strategic, from Singapore, that is a market where you present ideas that are more like, I would say tactical, like solve problems, activations, fast ideas. In Wieden, it was more about the manifesto. So like our ECDs won't read our ideas if we didn't have a manifesto before. And it's like, oh my God, how do we write this? We actually don't even write properly in English. We spend like 6 months trying to write manifestos. And, it helped us learn a different skill. And also how to position work that, for example, Coca Cola, we were working a lot on that, what was the line? Open happiness, right? So it's like, we were working on that like 2 years, and at the end it was, oh, we sold the line. It's like, well, when am I making the commercial? So it was like a lot of work, completely different agency than if you go to a more tactical like Saatchi. So we learned a new skill, but when we were there, we were like, oh, we're just producing. We produce like a few things, and it's like, we've been here, more than 2 years. And we had this opportunity, be as you are, an agency that is not unknown, completely unknown. Enigma, the agency is built in a school in Amsterdam, in the east of Amsterdam. But at the time, the agency won the global Mini account, the car, the Mini Cooper account. So it was an interesting opportunity. It was a smaller team. And Chief Creative Officer Jason Schrager, he's now the CCO at Saatchi LA. He does all this fantastic work for Toyota that you've seen on the award shows. He was being brought there, and we had a connection with him through Singapore because he used to work at BBH Singapore, and we knew he was like oh, this guy is good. They have a good team, and he offered us a job, and he's like, guys, it's a small company, but we have Mini, so let's do good work. And we were like jumping from an agency that was like has all the names and all the glory to something that is barely unknown. But at that moment, we believed again in the opportunity, and most importantly, in the people. We knew that from Jason we were going to learn, there was going to be opportunity for us, and it was going to be, you know, a great place to sort of give everything we learned at Wieden, you know. So I mean, we were there on the job, and you know, the third month we were already shooting a global campaign for Mini, introducing the countryman, you know, with a smuggler, huge production with Brian Belletic, the director of photography.
Linus Sangren.
Yeah, Linus Sangren that did La La Land. So it was like huge. We're shooting this, you know, over $3 million campaign, and it started paying off. You know, we started meeting the client, we started learning other things that maybe at Wieden we were not learning, you know. So that paid off. We did this ad. I don't know if you've seen it. I will show it. And then, I mean, then this campaign became super successful for us. You know, we actually put the agency that was unknown on the map. That was a much more interesting challenge than working on an agency where, you know, it's already known and, you know, you have to do great work. This campaign helped us, you know, win a lot of awards. There's me, younger, picking a Lee Award in London, he won in Cannes, Clio, became one of the top 100 ads of cars in the history of advertising too. And you know, it's actually the most successful product for Mini too. You know, the Countryman became the best sold model in the portfolio of the brand. So
yeah, quite frankly, you know, like when we got this opportunity, we were a little bit like doubtful and scared, because I mean, you are gonna leave a place that was, you know, a dream agency, you know, and somehow we say, okay, let's try it and let's see if we're gonna get something. At the end, it pays off. You know?
Yeah, so like that fear became, we made it tangible, right? So again, ending up this chapter, it's don't go to a job just because it's called BBH or it's called Wieden or it's called, you know, any fancy name. You know, the most exciting agencies right now are independent too. You know, you have Gap, you have Mischief, us on a minor degree, but you know, ask more about the people you're gonna work with. You know, not the name of the agency. I think that's what we can give you. You know, see who you're gonna work. If you trust this person, he has a good track record, he's gonna do good work. More than the name. You know, we have a lot of friends that got lost in the name, and you know, you by getting lost in the name, you also lose time and you lose work. And advertising is, you need to be doing work every time and becoming relevant, right? So it's a reinvention career. And this takes us to another point on our opportunity, I would say summary. There's always opportunity to be found, even at the worst of times, right? So right now we all had a huge pandemic. The people lost their jobs, a lot of things. You know, now it's reigniting. I think the industry, creative industry, I would say, is booming because there's a lot of different opportunities, from tech companies to independent agencies to bigger agencies. You know, it's almost you could pick whatever you feel comfortable with. But we'll tell you something that, you know, how to actually, from our experience, turn something that was negative and was at the same time difficult and make a positive out of it. You know, in Spanish we have this say, hasta de la mierda se hace abono, and it means even from, you know, the poop of the horses you can make manure, you know. So it's take something negative and make it work on your favor. We were, you know, in Paris at this time, enjoying Orangina's, working at Fred and Farid. That was a really cool independent agency, doing some great work, shooting with the Glue Society, winning awards. And then we got a chance to move to New York. That is like, you know, if you work in advertising, we already worked in Singapore, Amsterdam, Paris. We needed to do New York, right? So it was like, you have to do it, like it or not. Like it, of course. But we moved to New York, you know, thinking, oh, this is going to be a great place. We're moving to this big agency, you know, it's going to be great, right? It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't great. We got there. Our CCO, the one that they hired us, he was actually a really great creative, and we're still good friends with him. We arrived there, he hired other interesting people too that came from Argentina, people from China, some guys from LA. We had like all this team. We were creative directors on this big brand, you know, really good pockets. Then suddenly your boss that hired you is fired after 2 weeks. So what do you do? We're like, oh, fuck. You know, what do we do? You know, it's like people start leaving at 6. There's no one you can show your work. We didn't come here to just live in New York and go to Soho and buy clothes. We came here to do ads that could win awards and could be interesting, right? So what we did was, okay, I mean, we don't have a boss, right? But we're senior enough at that time, a certain degree, to start seeing the brands that are interesting and creating value on it. So we went to the, you know, we knew it was going to be hard to sell things on, you know, like film, on TV, you know, and integrated. So we started like doing things that were small. So we found this brand. It's out of Wreck-It. It's called Deacon. That is a mice killer. And we, you know, we just saw the brand. It's like, well, that's actually an easy sell to a client. We sort of met the client before. The guy that ran the business in this side was from Colombia, so we could speak Spanish with him. So it's like, okay, we might have a chance here. So we went and we came up with this idea that were like these miniature missing posters, and basically they just had the line that the Deacon, the #1 selling mice killer. So it's like if the husband or the wife or the little kid of the mice itself plays the mini poster. So we did this ourselves. We made the posters. Rolo, you took the picture. You can tell a little bit about the.
No, I mean, basically it was really guerrilla. You know, we took the pictures, we put it like in different parts, you know, of the city, and we take some photos and we send it to the press, you know, and then, I mean, different locations, of course, with some of the creatives.
And yeah, it just became suddenly a social media success at the time, with no media spend. So, you know, it got a lot of coverage, it appeared all over the news, you know, and again, you know, an idea that literally didn't cost much and was produced by us became an award-winning idea, you know, an idea of earned media. And again, you know, what we're saying with this is like, no, just don't do ads for mice killers, but find the opportunity, even in the most negative or shittiest moment. You know, you don't have a boss, you know what, you know, just find the thread that might make you successful.
What is important is like out of the limitations, you can always have an idea and you can always be creative. You know, you have to set up your boundaries and know what are the opportunities, and then you might find it.
And this takes us to, you know, also opportunity. Once you're on the right of opportunity, it also brings you more opportunity, right? So always try to maximize the opportunity in every level. You know, if you meet someone, meet a good friend. If you do good work, connect with the people, you do the good work, so then you can do good work with them later. So we'll tell you a little story also based on experience, you know. Rolo,
I was a jury out of home on print, you know. I mean, it was a really nice experience because, I mean, it's a lot of entries from different parts of the world, you know, and I think it's always like encouraging you to learn, you know, and debate with people and learn even more, you know.
And out of that, you know, I had the chance also to judge the one show the year before that is one of the best festivals in advertising. Really hard to win the gold pencil. I think it's only given to like less than 3% of the entries. It's like harder than Cannes. So we were there. We were, you know, Rolo was a jury, so we were like there, and I was like, oh, who's doing your campaign, you know? And it's like, well, we normally work with McCann or, you know, Drogady, the other. It's like, well, we have a new agency. It was like 2 years ago. and we have an idea. Let us. So we already knew the CEO and all the team at the one show, Kevin, and everyone was like, okay, give us a week. We'll come up with an idea for your campaign. And we're like, we presented it to them, and they loved it. Basically, the problem behind was like, the one show is really well known in US, it's really well known in Europe slightly, but in South America, in China, in Asia, in South Africa, it has less entries, right, than in New York, right, than in US. So we did an idea that was like super simple, and we sold it to them. They loved it. They gave us a budget, and we entered there, and it helped us promote our agency too. Well, I think it doesn't load.
Okay.
Okay, we'll show you the screen grabs, and you could see it later. But we basically did this idea, got a lot of PR for the one show. We hired a shaman from Peru that actually gave blessings to all the entries on real time. It was super fun. We have him blessing for over 2 months, all the entries. So actually, you need that little luck if you're entering a show that is so difficult to win. So it actually became the most successful campaign of the one show in 47 years. It had 38% increase in entries compared to the year prior, and over 130K organic views in the first 2 days. That for such a niche audience was a huge success. It also helped us promote our agency. This is sort of the first campaign we did under L&C. We're doing much more now, but it really put us on the map, on the creative map, and it gave us a tool to show clients of what we were capable of doing in this really simple but integrated campaign. So yeah, we'll show it to you later in our site. That brings us to another point, based on opportunity, and it's that opportunity can come from the smallest of brands. We're all in agencies, you guys are at the Miami Ad School, you're probably working on a lot of briefs for Spotify and, really cool brands, Nike, but sometimes the less celebrated brand can bring you the best award. And that's actually something we did. This is a brand, I don't know if you know it, not many people know it, PELLI Hostels. It's a low budget hostel from Peru. A friend of us is the owner. We thought that he had like a really interesting positioning based on prices, super simple. And there's this famous agency that when they opened it's called Kessel Kramer. It's from Amsterdam. They were like the Crispin and Porter of the early 90s, right? Really creative, agnostic media. And they had a client that was a hostel too, that was called Henry Brinkler. And they use these campaigns. They have the book 1 Kilo, that is fantastic. The agency, I think it's a little bit more quiet now, but it was like, the Droga 5 of the 90s, So we started, and it's like, well, let's get a client too that it's a hostel. If Kessel Kramer did it, why not us? So based on this, we came up with we asked him like 2 things. What is your selling proposition? We're cheap and we're good. Okay, so let's be based on that. So we did this campaign, super simple. We realized that we travel a lot and different places, and we've seen people sleeping in the airports because they don't want to spend money. We've done it too at some point. So we took the language of upgrading from the airlines, right, from the airports, and it's basically upgrade for only $9.99. Coco PELLI budget hostel, super simple. We actually curated the images. They're all stock, so we work with a researcher on stock. And then we just made them black and white to, keep it premium, but still have some sort of reality in the essence. And the same, there are real images, upgrade for only $9.99. You could actually we ended up making like 6 executions out of it. You could make millions of them. Super simple line, super simple idea. And again, really low budget, working in restrictions. And we're like, okay, this is a great idea. Let's send it to Cannes, to the one show. We send it, starting with the one show this year. Sadly, it can't work. Yeah, now it does. One second.
Needs to.
Okay, so the it's fine. So this idea we did with we've done ideas for Nike, for Coca Cola, for Mini. This idea turned into our first gold pencil with actually our agency. That is super cool because we won an award with our own agencies the second year since we founded, and it's super hard to win a gold pencil. So it became a gold pencil winner. We got it a few weeks back. So again, you know, opportunities are not necessarily on the biggest brands. They're also on the brands that, you know, your friend might own. So sit with him, have a coffee. There might be a good brief there. And again, you know, it's just a matter of listening and being aware of the surroundings. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's yeah, and it was great to see it there with, you know, big winners like Dove, you know, the URL ad from Miller Lite, and it actually positioned us in a really great, you know, really great creative position that we're currently are as an indie agency in New York. Something also important to keep in mind that we realized actually when we were at Fred and Farid too a lot, because they were great people with their own brand. Your personal brand is your greatest opportunity, you know, and you know, even when you're making your website or you're presenting your work, that's your brand too, you know. So don't be, as some people say, be quiet, be humble. Yes, be quiet, be humble, but also brand yourself, you know, because at the end that will depend on how you're going to be perceived in the market. And also, if you want to open an agency like crazy people like us, at some point it's better that you're known before you do that. You'll get better clients. This is a really funny sketch. It's done actually by a Peruvian artist called Sherman. He basically sketches, you know, famous people from Peru. He had Paolo Guerrero in soccer, famous musicians, you know, and on advertising, we were lucky that he picked us in his style. And then it was like, oh, if this guy is noticing us, we should start building our own brand, right? And we started like, okay, let's make a logo, right? We had the one on the left side before. We realized people was like Lanfranco and Cordova sounds really good in Spanish, but in English nobody can pronounce it. So it's like, how are we not L&C? You know, we're based in New York, so let's just simplify it. So we went to the right? And then, you know, then what do? You know, make the logo, then talk about what you know. So we know about creative and we know about different markets. So that's something that, you know, a lot of people, especially in US, don't know because they're work here most of their time. So it's like, and we're immigrants too, so we have that South American background. So we start participating in this, you know, judging at the one show, talking about the work, giving a speech at the Lojo, you know. So talk about what you know. Wherever the platform they give you or the opportunity, do it. Then second, you know, make a business of what you know. So it's like we started our agency, we started doing all this cool work and start winning some awards and getting attention and the context to help. And, you know, our agency become a business, you know, and it's like, wow, we're getting noticed. We got this really beautiful write-up in Forbes about this immigrant-owned agency that is ours, L&C. And, you know, and then the things, you know, then clients start coming. It's like, oh, we need an agency with a different view that it's, you know, has a minority aspect behind. Can you guys do this campaign? Sure. So suddenly you start creating a business, you know, and then the last step, but I mean, we're starting this last step, it's super long, can take you 10 years or more, is like believe in that business to succeed, you know, so you have to believe. That's the word. When we started this, it was founded by our own money. We moved to a cheaper apartment in New York to start the agency, just we wanted to save. We saved a lot from our pre-McCann salaries and Gary Bowen salaries. And then we said, this is gonna pay off at some point, you know? First year, you know, we started getting some, this second year, we're getting a lot of projects and it's going really well, but also creatively, you know, like the one show gives their really prestigious list. And it was super, super great to see this year we're on the top 10 independent agencies, you know, together with Wieden, we used to work, GAD, that is an agency we admire, we love Anselmo, you know, Fig, Collins, you know, and other agencies that we actually, admire and have much more time in the market. So this thing is a payoff of believing in your dream and fighting for it and staying tied to it, you know. Again, if we go back to opportunity, we saw the opportunity that we had something to say in the creative industry that maybe other agencies didn't have, so that's where we added, and that's something that you should guys see on yourselves. Again, I think this is the last point. Rolo, you can.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, you can create opportunities always for others, because we strongly believe, you have to build a community, you cannot be creative just by yourself. I mean, you have to help others, because the more stronger is the community, the more creative the people will become.
And yeah, for us, we come from South America. We started, our first award was El Ojo de Iberoamérica. So we have a good partnership with them, since they started. They're a massive festival now. And as part of our scholarship, for the past 10 years, we've been sending South Americans to students to El Ojo for free, all expensed. So far, a team always, a team of 2. So we donate the tickets, everything, the plane, everything, stay, and they go. So there's already around 20 people from Peru, Colombia, Ecuador that has been going to the Ojo de Iberoamérica and getting this exposure, because I think something we learned is being exposed to good talent since we were young. When we were at Saatchi Singapore, we were in our even early 20s, and you have David Droga coming to an office, you have Andy Greenway, the person that you work with just won a gold pencil. It's intimidating, but you learn with people that is good, right? So that it's part of creating opportunity for others. We're gonna do it again this year too. It's something we're committed to as an agency, always donating a little bit of the profit for South Americans to achieve their dreams too. And last year we brought, pre-pandemic, so the year before last year, we partnered with the One Show, the One Club, and we brought Portfolio Night for the first time to Peru. We invited all the best creative directors of Peru to judge the work of over 500 Peruvian creatives. It was a massive celebration of creativity. It was great. We had finally one person that won, Florencia, a girl that worked at McCann, I think, at the time. And she became an all-star, and she came all paid to be here in New York and actually present her campaign to the CMO of Spotify. So it actually gave her a great opportunity to connect with people from all over the world. She now has a better job. She's well known in the creative industry, So again, creating opportunity for others. Never forget back how you started. Not that we're super successful now. I think we still need a lot to learn and grow, but always keep an eye and be grateful for the good things that come to you, and also bring it to the ones that have less and that are starting, right? So we continue with the Portfolio Night also every year, bringing talent from Peru and loving the work from our country. And just to finish, I hope this worked for you guys. Talking about opportunity, we'll go to a Q&A, of course. You want to ask us anything, follow us on Instagram. We're really, we're active, right? Yeah. We have a lot of activity there. Send us your work. It's at lnc.nyc. We're happy to have a chat and stop sharing our presentation.